Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about the Berserker Prestige classes. We're going to go over all three classes. We're going to talk about what each of them do, what's the advantages, and which ones I think are the best for each kind of player. And by the time we're done with this, we're going to know everything there is about the Berserker Specialization. So guys, if you love the content that we're doing here, please consider supporting the VASH Core. Pick up one of the skins and rep the red and black army. It really helps us to keep on doing what we're doing here. So thank you so much for the support, guys. All right, let's get right into it. So the Berserker is a nasty class. This is the epic melee class. He specializes in physical combat, specializes in taking out armored units, and yeah, just an all-around monster. Tons of health, tons of damage, and a buffing capacity. So we're going to start off with the Champion Berserker. The Champion Berserker is a wild fighter that boosts nearby melee attack power and deals 50% extra damage to other melee units. So, as you can see, extremely powerful, right? All melee attack units around the Berserker will get bonus damage. That means other Berserkers, Barbarians, and Warriors. If Berserkers, Barbarians, and Warriors surround this guy, they're going to get augmented power. In addition, as a Champion Berserker, the Berserker will buff himself with an additional 50% damage against those three classes. So against Berserkers, Warriors, and Barbarians, you're going to completely tear them into pieces. Incredible damage. Now, the Rampaging Berserker still has that same capacity. He's a wild fighter that boosts nearby melee attack units' power, so the same buffing of those three units. However, the Rampaging Berserker deals an extra 50% damage to armored units. So you can choose to be a Berserker slash Warrior slash Barbarian killer, or you can choose to become a tank killer. Now, the tank is typically what you would expect from a melee unit. Melee units usually get bonus damage against armored targets. That's what they're for. Melee kills armor. And this kind of doubles down on that. You get an extra 50% extra damage to armored units from your Berserker. So you get that melee damage bonus to the Barbarian, the Berserker, and the Warrior. And then you yourself get a 50% damage bonus against tanks, which is Centurions and tanks. Those are the enemy armor units. Now, the Warpath Berserker is a wild fighter that boosts nearby melee units with attack power, the same as the other two. But this guy specializes in having a really giant wide range buff. So essentially what he's doing is he's doubling down on his army. He's making sure that all the melee units around him to a much wider range get that bonus. So it's for me personally, I think that the wider range is kind of pointless. If you place your units effectively, if you are, if you ever, see the way units have a tendency to move, is they all funnel towards one thing, right? They all cluster towards an apex, one point. And yes, it's not a bad thing to have a wide range bonus, because then you're guaranteed you're hitting all those units. But if your Berserker's on the front line or very near the front line, he's going to buff all the units around him. He doesn't really need the extra 4 range. It doesn't hurt, but it's kind of up to you what you want to focus on. Whether you want to the advantage of the Warpath Berserker is that you can put him back further so that he's not anywhere near the front line. And you'll still have that 4-tile range, which is pretty significant. You can be behind the combat, not really contributing anything offensively, but you're still boosting the power of all of the units that are fighting in front of you. So it's more like a commander style, gameplay, which is pretty good, right? It's pretty good. The Rampaging is a tank killer. The Berserker is a melee killer. For this one here, it's actually pretty hard to recommend what's going to be the most powerful buff. It really comes down to personal preference and what you want to target as a Berserker. Like when you see your Berserker, depending on where you where you decide to place your specialty prestige into is really going to dictate where you place your unit on the battlefield. Because if you see a whole bunch of tanks on the field of battle and you're a rampaging berserker, you're going to put your guy right on the front line and push that there. Whereas if you are a champion berserker, you're going to be looking for warriors and barbarians. If you see any warriors and barbarians on the field of battle, you're like, ooh, there we go, ooh, there we go, right? You're going to be targeting them and hunting them down. The champion berserker is exceptional at killing, the big ogres, right? Those giant trolls. Whereas the rampaging berserker is going to absolutely devastate death knights. So, you can also use it that way to hunt for these big giant units. Now, for me personally, I am actually going to go with the Warpath Berserker because I'm a commander, because I'm a streamer. My army has a tendency to rally around me, and I have a tendency to place my unit a little further back so that I can push and buff my team and make my team stronger. I'm all about team bonuses. So as a streamer, the Warpath Berserker is by far the best choice for me. That way I don't really have to worry about whether I'm focusing on melee units or armored units. I'm focusing more on my team bonus. So I take the Warpath, I place him behind the front line. All my team builds around me and builds on the front line, and I end up being a focal point, a hub for my team with an extremely long range bonus that will buff all of my units by a fairly significant amount. The milestone ability is, as you can see, boosts ally melee unit damage by 40%. So that 40% bonus damage is going to affect a very, very wide area. So that's the advantage of the Warpath Berserker. That's the one that I'm going to go with. That way, I'm focusing more on my army and less on my personal character power. So depending on what your role in the combat and the battle is, you got to pick the one that's best for you. So hopefully now you fully understand the specialization of the Berserker, and you know which one is going to be most beneficial to you in combat based on your style of play and what you want to hunt for when you're using this character. And yeah, rock and roll. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, leave a thumbs up. Really helps us out. Ring that bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of the video. Thank you so much for being a part of the Vash Corps, guys. Thank you so much for watching these videos and helping us grow this channel. It means the world, man. Rock and roll. Thank you for allowing me to create content for you guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah!